and a full-time head of political education until his resignation February 2017 from the organization. This unit has assisted in convening and proceedings of plenums, facilitating and presenting of organizational documents to plenum, as well as inducting of provinces, regions, and councillors. Subsequent to his resignation, the CCT appointed Commissar Sam Matiase, assisted by Commissar Dr. Lawrence Masitela, Matapelo Suisa, Tseko Mafanye, and Dr. Mbuisen Ndlozi. A detailed report on the activities of this unit is found in page 28 to 31 of the report. All 9 provinces which recently held their RPAs have inducted their RCTs, a total of 51 inductions. 2 regions, Amatole, Eastern Cape, and Umzinyathi in KZN, have not convened their second RPAs and no induction took place. The same applies to the 9 provincial people's assemblies which have all been inducted, including the national and provincial disciplinary committees, provincial secretaries, and prosecutors on the 3rd of December 2018 at the HQ. Finally, the incoming CCT should develop beyond the minimal work of the last 5 years, set aside a dedicated human and financial resource, a program of action which will embody the party's ideological principles and guidelines for the next 5 years and beyond. It shall be tasked with inculcating a culture of political education within the context of the organization, making political education fashionable and taking it to the next level. Security. In the first CCT, Security Department was first assigned to Commissar Fana Mokwena, who asked to be relieved of the responsibility. The CCT then resolved to appoint Commissar Marshal Dlamini in January 2017. The Defenders of Revolution forms an integral strategic arm of the Security Department. DOR has been and continues to be visible in various gatherings of the organization throughout the country, ranging from meetings to huge events such as rallies and marches. The unit is usually proactive and continues to enhance its security operations and intelligence. Prior to organizational gatherings, especially those of a significant magnitude like this NPA, it convenes and attends strategy and security planning meetings, such as Section 205 meetings with police, paramedics, and other security stakeholders. It should be noted that these selfless fighters are members of the organization, some of whom have experience in military training and security services, but who have devoted their time and attention to defending and protecting the revolution at all costs. At EFF events, DOR members work very closely with marshals who often have to maneuver leadership amid huge crowds. The unit continues to protect the members' assets and gatherings of the organization with humility and commitment. This unit has discharged its responsibility with excellence, dedication, and selflessness. This unit has discharged its task as a matter of labor of love as opposed to remuneration. I would like to thank the fighters who are volunteers to the organizing to this unit for their commitment and dedication. We recommend that a full-time head of security be appointed at the headquarters, whose duties, amongst others, shall be to assess and evaluate security threats to assets, personnel of the organization at regional, provincial, and national level. Legal services. Following the first NPA, the headquarters established a legal office headed by the National Chairperson, Commissar Dalempof, assisted by the paralegal officer, Zuko Matikan. The legal office is located in the office of the presidency. Its role includes, amongst other things, handling and channeling legal issues reported to the organization, facilitating representation of the organization in courts and tribunals and other forums where there is a legal dispute initiated by or against the organization, and providing legal advice as and when requested to the organization. Amongst the legal desk assists all public members at no charge and deals with walk-ins by EFF members and supporters, as well as other people who may not necessarily be EFF members. The legal desk assists without discrimination in terms of party affiliation, gender, race, or beliefs. Amongst the common walk-ins attended to are claims of corruption by government officials in various departments, complaints of unlawful evictions, complaints of abuse of power by authorities, unjust students' expulsions, suspensions, unfair dismissal, and range of other unfair labor practices and hate speech reports. Intervention often involves referring the complaint to the relevant competent authorities such as the Human Rights Commission, Public Protector, SAPS, and various law clinics. From time to time, matters reported are referred to provincial leaders for their intervention and assistance. The legal department has experienced limitations in number of instances owing to incompetence of legal professionals engaged to render services to the organization. During the period under review, the organization has had designated staff members attending to legal affairs, all of these to no ultimate satisfaction. Mr. Zuko Matikane, the paralegal officer, had to be released on account of incompetency and complaints from the public. Fighter Linda Mapengwane was contracted to head the legal services, including internal disciplinary processes of the organization. He was later released from duty in order for the organization to procure the services of a qualified admitted attorney on retainer. Services of Thabo Kwinana came as were then secured, but had to be terminated on account of incompetency, mediocre work, and laziness. These services of the services of this law firm was terminated. Subsequent to the termination of the legal services with KMNS attorneys, services of Kwena Manamela of Manamela and Tunis were secured. Again, there were various serious concerns of inefficiency and incompetency raised, resulting in the termination of the contract. The third firm of attorneys to be contracted on retainership was Ian Levitt Attorneys, secured as external retained firm of attorneys to deal with internal legal affairs in court cases brought by and against the organization. Their performance has been satisfactory. The firm gives regular updates on progress on matters in their database. They represent our fighters when called upon to do so, and they have reduced the load of matters they found since being appointed. Ian Levitt Attorneys has managed to eliminate 11 matters which were brought against the EFF due to unlawful protest action by people purportedly acting on the EFF instructions. These matters were the bulk of the civil applications issued against the EFF in the last 11 months, which now have been decreased to 0. In total, Ian Levitt Attorneys had 106 civil claims, which they have managed to reduce to 71 civil matters. Current matters pending include the applications brought by Minister Jamnandas and the President against the Public Protector, which we have successfully intervened in. The firm has also had 39 criminal matters expunged, either by having the charges withdrawn or the accused being acquitted. Furthermore, the services of Tatu Tobakhale Attorneys were secured in order to deal with public legal affairs, walk-ins, and also internal affairs in respect of organizational discipline. The firm is now attending to the expeditious finalization of all outstanding matters. Since their appointment, they have acted as prosecutor of the organization in making sure that all disciplinary matters are expeditiously brought to finality. They are also responsible for the prosecution of over 200 public representatives who do not have parties and minimally or not present on organizational work. We shall allude later in this report on matters of organizational discipline. Amongst the major wins of the organization in court is the matter against the former president, wherein the organization insisted that he pay back the money in line with the remedial action of the public protector. The battle was fought in the streets, in parliaments, and in courts. It resulted in the Constitutional Court ruling in our favor, wherein other parties joined as applicants. Notwithstanding this victory, Parliament, through the ruling party, was hell-bent of not bringing the then president to book, and this resulted in the EFF members of parliament being severely assaulted, and the organization is pursuing this matter in court. Detailed activities of the unit are found on page 34 to 37 of the report. Office of the Secretary General, Section 13(6)C and D provides the establishment of the SGO, which is comprised of the SG and the DSG. SG is tasked with conveying and communicating and articulating key decisions of the organization and to all structures, including record keeping and administration. Section 13(6)C(1) provides that the SG shall be full-time official based at HQ. The CCT resolved that the SG can be full-time at headquarters and continue to discharge parliamentary duties as a full-time member of parliament. For the period under review, we have not experienced any hurdles in this arrangement. The Office of the Secretary General is comprised of organizing, membership management, human resource management, public representative list replenishment, gazetting, and organizational discipline. On organizing, this function is to ensure implementation of National Program of Action as adopted annually in the plenums and those recommended and resolved on from time to time by the CCT and War Council, and mobilization for by-elections. After the first NPA, organizing was headed by Commissar Tseko Mofanya, who was later replaced as national organizer. Organizing responsibility is now headed by Commissar Mgcini Chwako, who has been the national organizer since 2016 as appointed by the CCT. Working close with fighters Patrick Sindane, Matume Moshola, Gabriel Gupega, Rasta Zola, Terport, Tsepo Dire, Fola Mtinani, and Mpodi Bakwan. Department has recruited close to 60 volunteers who move from province to province, program to program to ensure maximum capacity in mobilization in dormant programs and munches. The organization has been able to create a database in excess of 2 million cell phone numbers from door to doors at all levels of the organization and broadcasted more than 10 million SMSs for organizational events such as Telatupa and calling on our people to vote EFF. Organizing unit is instrumental in organizing successful rallies and all major activities of the organization. The unit is efficient, and it is notable that the unit has been able to organize events and programs without collapsing the entire leadership to descend in mobilizing. There is a need to strengthen this unit with resources, which includes but not limited to human resources, equipment, and vehicles, and further improve it so that it can become a permanent organizing resource. This unit has discharged its responsibility with excellence, dedication, and selflessness as a matter of labor of life opposed to remuneration. I'd like to thank the fighters who are volunteers to the organizing unit for their commitment and dedication. A detailed list of programs ordinarily convened by the organization in the period under review will be alluded to later in the report. Membership management. Membership is the lifeblood of the organization. Section 4 of the Constitution outlines the importance and relevance of membership. It highlights who is eligible to be a member, what values and prescripts members are bound by, what declaration is expected of a person before membership is bestowed upon them, and what limitations membership to the organization places on a person. Membership is assigned to a membership officer in the SGO. Initially, it was handled by Fighter Godfrey Matloko, who is also our guest here today, who later found employment elsewhere in 2016. Thereafter, Ms. Pindile Manganyi was assigned to this task, who was later removed. She was replaced by Fighter Kylie Tlemakongo, who still attends to membership to date. All provinces have prescribed spreadsheets in which they are expected to fill in data of paid-up members and to send it to membership officer at the HQ. Such a data sheet would include the personal details of the member, e.g. their names, surnames, and identity number. The data will then be sent to membership card printing service provider, who in turn prints and delivers the card at HQ to be collected by provinces. Concern of members not receiving their membership card is sometimes due to provinces not complying with prescribed data form, not sending the data spreadsheet from regions at all, late collection of membership cards from headquarters, and or late or non-distribution of cards to members. This will also include submission of duplicate data, which results in high cost to the organization. Similarly, being made to print cards for a certain want, which for all material respects contains data which belongs to a totally different world. For these reasons, the organization is engaged in the exercise of identifying a suitable service provider that can assist the organization to, through technological advancement, expedite the process of membership capturing, monitoring, reporting, card printing. Attempts in this regard prove futile as service provider had internal challenges which have now since been resolved. The new membership system will be able to give real-time membership per province, per ward, per region, per sub-region, and also indicate demographic information in relation to membership, gender, age, and socio-economic status. This will make it efficient to perfect card printing and report drawing on state of membership at all levels of the organization. In the absence of the system, the organization has had to rely on manual system which cannot with complete accuracy and precision confirm the membership status. However, for the period under review, only one service provider was used for membership card printing, and records indicate that in excess of 1 million membership cards were printed and issued, though characterized by duplicates in some instances. According to the first NPA organizational report, the total audited membership for the purpose of the Branch People's Assembly was 318,000, whilst the number of paid-up membership and reflected in the bank membership payment was 527,000. Details analysis of membership are found from page 41 to page 42 of this report. The membership management has witnessed joining and rejoining of the organization in 1.7 million times, and this is reflected in the paid-up membership fee of 17 million rand specially received over the 5 years. A special audit of membership has demonstrated that paid-up membership of the organization stands at an average of 732 members year in, year out. Due to the manual membership system, we are unable to account with precision for captured membership for the period 2015 and 2016. Towards RPAs and PPAs in 2018, the organization adopted guidelines for convening RPAs and PPAs kept at a minimum of 90% launch wards, and this resulted in tremendous growth and wider reach than anticipated. As a result, in 2018, membership was accurately audited to be at 731, 498 paid-up members. On membership cards, we have a dependable card printing system, and we can assure NPA that we will have a perfect system in 2020. It is recommended to plenary and the incoming CCT that members should not wait for over 30 days to receive printed membership cards. We recommend to plenary and incoming CCT to keep membership fee at 10 Rand per year for the next 5 years. Human resources. Section 13.6D3 provides that the Deputy Secretary General shall, amongst other responsibilities, be in charge of HRM of the organization. This entails the recruitment of staff, condition of service, and labor relations matters. The CCT exercised its discretion in terms of Section 13.6D1 and resolved that the DSG shall not be a full-time official in the headquarters. Hence, Commissar Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi was full-time as a whip in the National Assembly. Notwithstanding her whippery function in the National Assembly, she was able to discharge all her constitutional obligations at the headquarters and provinces of deployment. It should be remembered that after the birth of the organization, it had no employees. Instead, it was assisted by volunteers with various skills, expertise, and time. Some of these volunteers were absorbed and later became employees of the organization on a temporal or permanent basis. The organization has partnered with Sector Education and Training Authority and has, through a joint program with SETA, sourced 50 interns who earn a monthly stipend. Furthermore, the SETA program has provided bursaries to 7 staff members in terms of its discretionary funding. Efforts are ongoing to introduce further employee benefits such as, but not limited to, medical aid, pension, car allowance, housing allowance, and other statutory benefits. To date, compensation of EFF employees is at total cost to employer. Notwithstanding various media reports about the hostile relationship between the organization and its employees, there have been numerous attempts to amicably resolve labor disputes through conciliation and settlement agreements and harmonize the employer-employee relationship such that the EFF becomes an employer of choice. The past 5 years, Human Resources has attained 100% compliance in areas of employment equity reporting, workplace skills planning reporting, employee tax and SARS, workmen compensation, and basic conditions of employment act. Today, the organization has 230 employees, and a detailed breakdown of their respective pay points is contained in the annexures of the report. Employment to municipalities has been characterized by inadequacies from failure to consult broadly and in some instances led to protracted labor dispute. Some municipality resources given in kind held in the budget of municipalities, and this calls for the incoming CCT to pay special attention to the receipt and use of such resources. 5 councillors of eThekwini had to be expelled for misappropriation of such resources, and some in other municipalities are being investigated. We take this opportunity to thank the staff of the organization and its volunteers who have spent sleepless nights working odd hours, breathing life to this organization and its program, particularly the elections and this NPA. Public representative list replenishment and gazetting. List gazetting and replenishment of public representative falls in the exclusive jurisdiction and competence of the SGO, assisted by officials and War Council. A breakdown of number of public representatives is contained in Annexure A. The task of gazetting and replenishment of lists in the council, legislatures, and parliament is premised on guidelines of CCT resolution. Section 4.2 of the Constitution provides for the oath in which every member binds himself or herself to, upon assuming membership, abide by the aims, objectives, and radical policies of the freedom fighters. It further provides that the member joins the organization without any motive of personal gain, material benefit, and understand that he or she is not entitled to any position or deployment. The member further vows that he or she will participate in the life of the EFF to strive towards total emancipation of South Africa, Africa, and the oppressed people of the world, and will do so as a loyal and active and disciplined economic freedom fighter. The above declaration clearly indicates that deployment to National Assembly, National Council of Provinces, Provincial Legislature, and Council is not an entitlement of any member. However, when called upon to resign in order to enable the organization to replenish its list, certain members have a proclivity of refusing to resign, citing their own reasons of careerism and opportunism. For the period under review, the organization resolved that in executing list replenishment, the process to be followed is that of the ward candidate from the ward with the highest votes in 2016 LGE shall assume office if in case of replacement in a municipality. Furthermore, a female shall be replaced by a female. For the period under review, the organization experienced a myriad of challenges in councillor replacement, which amongst others included the abuse of requests for deviation, e.g. provinces requesting to replace a female with a male, or replacing a person with another person who does not appear on the 2016 LGE ward candidate list. Another challenge experienced is delay in approval of draft letters sent to provinces for replacements, wherein provinces are afforded an opportunity to participate in the process of quality and accuracy check. The frequently experienced replacement is that following the suspension or expulsion of a councillor, municipalities refuse to process their replacement, notwithstanding them being furnished with a notice of suspension or expulsion. Instead, municipalities have a tendency of shielding the suspended or expelled member, asserting that they want to satisfy themselves that the process of suspension or expulsion was fair. The delay tactic of replacement of councillors by municipalities is meant to afford the expelled councillors enough time to take the organization to court. We've heard various instances of public representatives taking the organization to court, and amongst these were the infamous Mogale 6 of the Gauteng province. For the period under review, the organization had to replace a number of public representatives for various reasons, amongst which are resignations, death, and disciplinary proceedings outcome. These are comprised of members in the National Assembly, National Council of Provinces, provincial legislatures, and councillors. From our experience and challenges alluded to above, the course we have been called for and voluntarily surrendered ourselves demands of each of us to be selfless. At no point should our ambitions rise above that of the organization to the extent that we budget and plan our lives around the position of deployment at the hands of the organization. Similarly, nor should the organization find itself held hostage in implementing its resolutions due to individual feeling entitled to a position of deployment in any state institution. Organizational discipline. In terms of Section 22(1) of the Constitution, the CCT shall adopt a code of conduct which shall be the EFF's guide on how issues of discipline and conduct are to be internally handled. This code provides for sanctionable offenses in Section B, amongst them as listed there. Furthermore, the organization in its third plenum of January 2017 adopted its code of conduct for all EFF caucuses and public representatives, MPLs, MPs, and councillors. The code provides for inter-island principles and guidelines to inform all EFF caucuses and a detailed list of what is expected of EFF public representatives, e.g., they must come from an EFF branch, contribute to the organizational levies on time without fail, must not be gainfully employed elsewhere other than being a public representative, be available 24 hours, procure a buggy, and be involved in continuous self-capacity building and educational programs. Flowing from Section 22 of the Constitution, the Code of Conduct and Revolutionary Discipline in Section C7 provides that there shall be a National Disciplinary Committee constituted of no less than 5 CCT members. In this regard, after the first NPA, the CCT appointed an NDC comprising of 5 members and was chaired by Commissar Dalimpofu, which included Commissar Tilubali Mulaut, Susan Tembekwayo, Sheli Mukhoto, and former CCT member Mlungis Rapodile. Due to the National Chairperson's unavailability, disciplinary matters could not be finalized expeditiously, and the CCT accordingly resolved to appoint then Commissar Tembinkosi Khaula as the chairperson of the NDC. Following his resignation, as alluded to earlier, he too had to be replaced, and the CCT resolved that he be replaced by Commissar Delisile Ngwenya. Today, the composition of the NDC is as follows, number 1 to number 5. Period under review, a number of members have appeared before the NDC, of which some have been found guilty, while some have been acquitted. Others have been issued with notices of reprimand. Charges leveled against members usually involve non-payment of party levies, double dipping, failure to purchase a party, minimal or failure to be involved in organizational activities, and bringing the organization to disrepute through disruptive or criminal conduct. Similarly, provinces have been called upon to establish provincial disciplinary committees in terms of Section C9 of the Code. The National Prosecutor has been approved by the CCT, and all 9 provinces have heard their provincial prosecutors approved by the National Prosecutor. All 9 provinces have functional PDCs and effective provincial prosecutors. To date, numerous features appear before all 9 PDCs. Compliance with Section D24, some of these matters were brought before PDCs and their PCTs and before CCTs for consideration, given that the outcome was either expulsion or suspension. In the period under review, 64 fighters were expelled and 6 were suspended, and a detailed breakdown to this effect is contained in this report. In terms of the NDCA, in accordance with Section CA, the CCT established the Appeals Committee comprised of the DP, assisted by the DSG and the TG, Commissarian. In the period under review, 5 matters were heard, 3 appeals were upheld, 2 appeals were dismissed. In terms of Section C5 of the Code of Conduct and Revolutionary Discipline, the NDC is the Appeal Committee of First Instance for matters flowing from PDCs. To this date, the NDC is sitting as an appeal committee considered 11 matters, of which 6 were upheld and 5 were dismissed. Section D25 of the Code of Conduct and Revolutionary Discipline provides that the decision of the CCT to confirm a suspension or expulsion may, on application by the offender, be placed before the National People's Assembly as a subject of final review or appeal. In this regard, the organization has received 8 applications for review of NDCA findings that should be placed before this NPA as a subject of final review or appeal in compliance to Section D25. These matters that require the second NPA's attention are found in Annex B at the end of the report. The NPA is advised to take a decision in all these matters as mandated by the Code of Conduct and the Constitution. Special NDC dispensation for public representatives. Section C10 of the Code of Conduct for all caucuses and public representatives provides that all EFF public representatives must acquire driving license and must buy packages or vehicles that are able to drive in difficult routes and transport other fighters as well for other organizational activities. Flowing from this decision, all public representatives were directed to buy vehicles and packages. However, following the 2019 national and provincial elections, various by-elections and general organizational activities, the organization noted with disappointment that some public representatives did not respect and observe the Code of Conduct and undermined and weakened the organizational capacity to run successful elections campaign and carry out the organizational work. The CCT then resolved to set up a special National Disciplinary Committee. The Special National Disciplinary Committee was established to operate as an ad hoc committee whose mandate was specifically to process matters relating to public representatives who failed to purchase a party, who added no value in organizational growth, who were nowhere to be found or minimally present in the run-up to the 2019 election. In this regard, the CCT appointed commissars Reneilwe Mashabela, Marshal Lamin, Natasha Ntlangwini, Sam Matthias, Fighter Vuyan Pambo as members of this NDC. On the 23rd September 2019, the SGO confirmed the readiness of the prosecution to proceed with about 210 cases. On the 30th September 2019, the SNDC compiled the hearing schedules which anticipated hearings to run from the 14th of October to 6th November. A table with detailed insight on the work of the SNDC is contained in the report, from which delegates shall note that a total number of 255 names were submitted, 210 were set down, 185 accused persons attended, 25 did not attend. The nature of charges is also contained in the report. The SNDC further noted a flaw in the process of how public representatives were identified and subsequently submitted by provinces to the SGO to answer to the allegations. Specifically, it became evident that RCTs and PCTs did not properly audit and verify whether or not public representatives purchased packages and or availed those packages to the organization. And further, RCTs and PCTs did not satisfy themselves that names of public representatives submitted to the SGO were submitted on valid grounds. Instead, the SNDC found that upon hearing the cases, there were those with no basis which were brought before it. Furthermore, there were cases where RCTs and PCT members who appeared as witnesses for the prosecution declared the charged members innocent, notwithstanding the fact that the names emanated from these structures. There were further cases where RCTs and PCT members even appeared as witnesses for the charged members, notwithstanding the fact that the names emanated from these structures. This then calls into question the fairness and objectivity of the process of RCTs and PCTs in submitting names to the SGO. Furthermore, some officials of PCTs, RCTs, and other CCT members were known to have parties, and yet their names were not submitted. The assignment of the SNDC has been sufficiently carried out. Suffice to state that its work is still ongoing. Particularly, the SNDC is currently in the process of consolidating the huge volume data and deliberating on appropriate verdicts and sanctions in the interest of fairness, which will be communicated to all at once. It is recommended to the incoming CCT to be seized with the assignment to conclude all outstanding matters related to the mandate of the SNDC. Office of the Treasurer General. The circumstances in which Commissar Leon Matthys was elected Treasurer General has been earlier alluded to. Office of the TG is led by Commissar Leon Matthys. A separate report on financial administration and management of resources of the organization shall be separately tabled to this NPA. However, the CCT has always received annual financial reports as audited and presented to Parliament, the legislatures, and the IEC. Delegates will note from the report of the Treasurer General that the financial standing of the organization is healthy, except for the year 2015 in the provinces of Mpumalanga and Northern Cape. It should further be noted that subsequently, the two provinces improved drastically, and to date, they have not been a cause for concern in financial management. Details in this regard will be provided by the Treasurer in her report to this second NPA. We thank you, TG Commissar Leon Matthys, for holding the fort as elected by the CCT. Elections. Section B21 of the EFF Constitution provides that the organization shall strive to capture political and state power through whatever revolutionary means possible to transform the economy for the benefit of all, and in particular Africans. This is based on the founding manifesto, wherein it states that economic freedom fighters will contest political power. Because we are guided by the firm belief that we need political power in order to capture the state and then transform the economy for the emancipation of black South Africans, especially Africans. The founding manifesto went further and stated that the forms in which the EFF contests political power will from time to time be reviewed in the light of prevailing circumstances. Since the first NPA, the organization has participated and contested 2 elections, 2016 LGA and 2019 NPA. President is responsible for election, has since established the election office. The role of the elections office is to plan for elections, and this includes national and provincial government, local government, and by-elections when they are declared by the Independent Elections Commission. The elections office is also responsible for the registration of candidates and maximum participations in the elections. This has been done through mobilization, postering of pamphlets, posters, billboards, campaigns, manifesto, and list processes. A detailed performance analysis per province on the 2016 LGE is found from page 54 to page 58 of the report. National provincial elections. The CCT of the 13th August 2018 established the CETF convened by the President, and the names are found in page 59, and those names should also include Dr. Thembekwayo Susan. All provincial chairpersons and secretaries were also members of the CETF. This approach was different from the one deployee, one municipality, as happened with the 2016 LGE. The CETF convened 8 times and established the following committees to deal with the 2019 national and provincial elections. Manifesto Committee held by the DP, Campaign and Mobilization led by Commissar Mgcine, Communication led by Dr. Ndlozi, and the Legal Committee led by the SG. CETF further resolved on Manifesto Consultative Assembly's scheduled with different constituencies. This process was aimed at improving and enhancing the quality of the People's Election Manifesto. The consultative assemblies are listed in page 60 of the report. In 2019, ahead of the 2019 elections, many supporters and members gathered at Giant Stadium in Soshanguve on the 2nd February 2019 to witness the unveiling of the EFF 2019 People's Assembly. The theme was Our Land and Jobs Now, and we agreed on a program of EFF Red Friday. This theme echoed in the various provinces and indeed was seen in 8 provincial rallies which were held on the 23rd of March 2019 in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, 24th March 2019 in KZN and Northern Cape, 30 March 2019 in Eastern Cape and Western Cape, and 31st March 2019 in Free State and Northwest. The Commander-in-Chief addressed in all 8 provincial rallies which were a success. However, this was unprecedented in any political party to have so many provincial rallies of such a huge magnitude within a very short space of time across relatively far areas to each other, all addressed by a single person. In addition to the 8 rallies mentioned above, Gauteng Province hosted the Chela Tupa rally on the 5th of May at Orlando Stadium in Soweto. Once more, this rally saw the stadium full to capacity and the Commander-in-Chief addressed therein on matters relating to the elections as a final push towards the 2019 national and provincial elections. By-elections. For the period 28 January 2015 to 27 November 2019, the IEC declared 434 by-elections in wards, and the organization participated in 331 by-elections. These by-elections included a rerun in Ngutu municipality, 17 wards, Metsimahulu, 21 wards. Recently, the municipality of Mamuza has been dissolved and all 9 wards have been declared for election rerun on the 15th of January 2020. The period under review, the organization has won only 2 by-elections after 2016 in the Northwest, the Tsobotla Ward 15 and Limpopo Polokwane Ward 10. A detailed indication of the number of by-elections in wards declared in the period under review, how many the organization participated in, and also where there was non-participation is found in the report in page 65 to 66 respectively. From the analysis, it is clear that all provinces are affected by non-participation in by-elections, with the highest being KZN with 27, followed by Western Cape and Eastern Cape with 17 wards each. Furthermore, the report contains a table which indicates the total number of votes received by the organization per province for the period under review. The table is a true reflection of organizational performance in by-elections and reflects provincial leadership's commitment to by-elections activities in their provinces. There is a linear relationship between performance in by-elections by provinces, as will be seen in the above table, and the number of non-participation in by-election by provinces. Poor provinces in by-election is found in the provinces of Eastern Cape at 5%, KZN at 3%, and Western Cape at 3%. High number of non-participation in by-election is found in the same 3 provinces, Eastern Cape, KZN, and Western Cape. We recommend plenary to take a dim view of such contemptuous conduct by provincial chairpersons and secretaries, regional chairpersons and secretaries on poor performance in by-elections, and recommend to the incoming CCT for stiff penalties should such once more occur. It has been noted that there are reports that by-election candidate posters are of low and poor quality, and that in some instances they arrive late. However, intervention to improve in this limitation has been made. There have also been isolated and unfortunate reports of candidates for by-elections not being registered. Interventions including remedial and/or disciplinary steps have accordingly been involved. Of particular concern is the 103 wards wherein the organization did not participate in the by-elections on account of unregistered candidates, even though the organization has paid the participation fee of 1,000 rand per candidate. This number represents 24% non-participation, a huge concern. The reasons for non-participation includes but not limited to failure to pay attention to deals, particularly by provincial chairpersons and provincial secretaries as liaison officers of the organization with IEC. This is despite several reminders from the Elections Office at HQ having full-time paid provincial secretaries, regional secretaries, and provincial organizers at the expense of the organization. We recommend plenary to take a dim view of such contemptuous conduct by this leadership on non-participation in by-election despite payment made by the organization, and recommend to the incoming CCT for swift, stiff penalties should such once more occur. We have noted with concern the organization's performance is poor on by-elections. Our candidates often do not appeal to the community, and this may be one of the reasons for the poor performance. Also, we do not have strong machinery at branch level, and there is a need for PCTs to improve in this regard. It is recommended that the incoming CCT should pay special attention on voter education for the purpose of registering to vote, checking voting status, updating voting status in case of relocation, and proper appending of voting mark in the ballot paper. Experience has shown that our people are turned away from queues due to issues of relocation, and there has been a big number of spoiled votes year in, year out whenever there are national elections. Other structures and organs of the organization and their functions. Much about structures and organs of the EFF and their functions are detailed in page 67 to 68 of the report. However, we need to pay special attention to the report on the last paragraphs of page 68 on the issue of the Youth Command and the Women's Command. The CCT on various occasions has extensively deliberated on the possibility of formation of these structures and held the view that it is not an opportune time to form these structures as the organization itself was at its formative phase. However, the CCT has commissioned drafting of conceptual papers in relation to the Women's Command, and the CCT has deliberated in this conceptual paper, and the process is ongoing. Furthermore, Section 17 envisages the formation of the EFF Student Command. The first CCT resolved that the Deputy President be tasked with the responsibility of ensuring of the formation of the EFF Student Command, so as to ensure the presence of the organization in institutions of higher learning, TVETs, and universities. This structure has been formed on the 16th June 2015 at its inaugural Student Assembly in Limpopo, and details about its formation and activities will be alluded to later in the report. Deployment. These are found in pages 69 and 74, and there were subsequent reshuffling. All heads of portfolio committees, save for a few in the organization, did not perform at all for both objective and subjective reasons we shall allude to later. The few heads of committees who were visible in their work and constituted such committees are communication, organizing elections, health, security, and political education, organizational programs. At the beginning of every year, the organization will without fail meet in order to plan for the year ahead and resolve on tasks which need to be rolled out. This will be in the form of plenum. Plenum ordinarily develops an annual program of action. The NPOA activities are held from the highest level to the lowest level and were held nationally. And where held nationally, the events will be rotated throughout the provinces. These programs of actions are found in page 75 to page 99. We will not be in the position to go through all these pages of the programs, but delegates will have the opportunity to read overnight and engage with them in the commission. However, of importance, with due respect, in the absence of the president of AMCU, is that the organization did donate 1 million rand to the Marikana Trust for Widows and Children, which amount, thank you very much, which amount was never acknowledged, nor a letter of thank you was ever received, which led to the organization, its leadership, taking a decision never again to participate in a Marikana commemoration activities. We shall not bore you with the activities of the organization, except to inform you that we did indeed held memorial services of El Commandant Fidel Castro, of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and President Robert Mugabe in the years 2016, 2018, and 2019. On international relations and solidarity, Section 13B(4) of the Constitution provides inter alia that the Deputy President shall represent the organization in important domestic and international forums. At its first sitting after the NPA, the CCT resolved that the Deputy President shall be assigned and deployed to international relations portfolio. The preamble of the organization's constitution in defining the character of the EFF provides, amongst other things, that we are an anti-imperialist movement with an internationalist outlook driven by a sound democratic socialist values, and further that we shall associate with the poorest, with the protest movements and join the struggles that defies unjust laws. To this regard, the Department on International Relations engaged in programs which are found in page 96 up to page 99 of the report. However, the recommendation is that plenary and the incoming CCT should consider appointing a full-time staff member or commissar, in fact, commissar under the guidance of the presidency, so as to maximally enhance and harness the EFF participation in international progressive platforms and build relations with progressive forces in the continent. State of provinces. We have outlined the state of provinces on the report, which moves from page 100 to page 120. We are not in a position to go through those pages. However, we can report that all provinces have subsequently been convened to second PPAs, except for KZN, Eastern Cape, and Northern Cape, which had at a certain point in time to be disbanded. Even though they have held their NPA, they had to go to another NPA because of the state of weaknesses. However, all said and done, throughout provinces, there is a measure of hope and there is a potential for growth. Most provinces are stable, except for two regions, one in Eastern Cape and one in the KZN, which are not launched. However, all 51 of the 53 regions have been launched. All 9 provincial PPAs have been convened and elected leadership, and most of the elected leadership are still active as of today. We shall now proceed to the EFF Student Command. Section 17 of the Constitution provides for the establishment of the EFF Student Command. It provides that the Student Command shall be established as an autonomous structure existing in all institutions of higher learning and post-secondary. A detailed report on EFF Student Command from 2015 to 2019 is found from page 120 to page 132. The report provides detailed information on the EFF Student Command elected leadership on the first, second, and third National Student Assemblies, when and where these National Student Assemblies were held, together with an indication of gender representation, seats acquired and lost in student representative councils, programs held in the period under review, EFF Student Command branches launched in institutions of higher learning and related information. Among the key programs the EFF Student Command initiated and participated in are the following: Sizofunda Ngenkani campaign, characterized by walk-ins, one province, 1 million votes, fees must fall, insourcing now, provisions of meals a day to deserving students, provision of sanitary to deserving students, and marching in solidarity with students in nursing councils, and participation in the Zuma motion of no confidence, and the EFF Student Command solidarity with students under SETA programs. The programs on Student Command, detailed report on EFF Student Command is found on page 120 to page 131. It should be noted that in page 131, it's where we have an indication that the Student Command has grown its membership from 10,000 in 2015 to 16,000 in 2017 and 24,000 in 2019. However, there are 61 university campuses and 256 campuses of TVETs, and in both these institutions and campuses, the EFF is only found in 127 campuses, which represents 40% of a national footprint of the EFF Student Command, what we can call a dismal performance by the Student Command. We shall now proceed to page 132 on governance. Governance is a responsibility that falls in the office of the Deputy President and primarily driven through the Governance Task Unit. A detailed account on governance is found from page 132 to page 158 of the report. It alludes to the 2 elections in the period under review in which the organization participated, elections outcome in councils, 9 provincial legislatures, National Assembly and National Council of Provinces. It further alludes to special governance arrangements in hung local municipalities and metros where insignificant achievements were recorded by the organization on accounts of its swing votes. Some of these achievements relate to insourcing of workers in all the metros that are hung and holding the executive accountable through motions of no confidence, which resulted in a number of mayors and speakers removed by initiatives of our own councillors. The report further alludes to the establishment of the Governance Task Unit headed by the Deputy President, activities it engaged with, and reports on list replenishments. The governance report further alludes to activities of our MPLs in all the 9 provincial legislatures, the National Assembly, and the Council of Provinces. The report lays bare the challenges and limitations on governance matters and strides accomplished in the National Assembly through debates, motions, questions, and tabling of bills initiated by the organization. We will see that in page 146, it is alluded to on the important achievements in Parliament since the first NPA, page 146. Furthermore, the EFF used its parliamentary participation to table laws and or initiate process to draft the following the bills that will change the economic architecture of South Africa to benefit South Africans. These bills are found in page 147 of the report. At the end of this report that is before you, there are annexures that are found from page 165 to page 181. Of particular note, plenary is requested to pay special attention to Annexure B at page 166 and take a resolution on the way forward in terms of Section D25 applications for those councillors who were double dipping, who stole money of the organization, and who prematurely took the organization to court, and those who were defiant, insubordinate, and disobedient to the resolutions of the Central Command teams. We shall then proceed to the end of the report as we conclude this report on page 158 of the report. In the period under review, the country, the organization, and the world lost activists, leaders, and eminent persons of society. Among these are the late Commissar Dumisani Ngcongwane, who passed away on the 26th of February 2016. Commissar Dumisani is the first coordinator of Mpumalanga province in 2013, until his election as an additional CCT member in 2014. May his soul rest in perfect revolutionary peace. On the 25th of November 2016, we woke up to the news of the fall of the gallant internationalist soldier, El Comandante Fidel Castro. Africa, and in particular Angola, Namibia, and South Africa, will forever remain indebted to this general of the victorious Cuito-Cunovale battle that saw apartheid soldiers screaming back with their tails in between their legs to Pretoria, running away from the guns and cannon of the Cuban military missiles. To his soul and those of International Cuban Martyrs in Africa, we salute and lower our banner in their honor. A dark cloud covered the skies of South Africa on the 2nd of May 2018, when the mother of the nation, Mama Nomzamo Winnie Madikizela Mandela, passed on. The organization views this somber occasion with particular attention, given that Mama Winnie played a vital role in the ushering of democracy and never dissociated herself from the organization until she passed away. In April 2016 and 2019, the CIC laid to rest his aunts, Nes Malema and Mama Hulu Selina Maropeng, respectively. And in May 2019, the CIC laid to rest his grandma, Koko Sara Malema. People who not only contributed tremendously to his upbringing and very dear to him, but very active members and supporters of the EFF. We share the pain with you and your family, President, for such a devastating loss. 6th of September 2019, and Africa and the oppressed people of the world unbelievably woke up to the sad news of the passing away of the son of Africa, President Robert Mugabe. President Mugabe refused to bow to the white supremacy despite devastating economic sanctions in retaliation for the restoration of land ownership to the people of Zimbabwe. The period under review, our hardworking members of the CCT lost their dearly loved ones, and amongst them are Fighter Bongani Msane, husband of Commissar Thembi Msane, Mr. George Mopai, husband of Commissar Neilwe Mashabela, Master Solomon Bata, brother of the Secretary General, and Mrs. Nosebenzile Mpofu, mother of the National Chairperson, Commissar Dali Mpofu. Furthermore, the country and the world knew no pain more than the loss of many gallant fighters, sports persons, and artists, etc. Amongst them, Senyaka Kekana, John Shoes Mosheu, Muhammad Ali, Mandoza Mtuduzi Chabalala, Lundi Chamara, Joe Mafela, Philip Khosana, Ray Piri, Robi Malinga, Huma Sikele, Kriopatse, Hosisile, Comrade Ahmed Katrada, Mama Zonden Sobukwe, Aretha Franklin, Prokit, Linda Mkize, Double HP, Jablan Tambo, Oliver Mtukudzi, Phil Masinga, Sam Meiwa, Mama Nom Tlenkonyeni, Chester Williams, Olani Kwala, King Pendulo Sikau, Pastor Nay Zimu, and Comrade Ben Duro. And to many victims of femicide, amongst them Karabo Mokwena, Uinene Mkhwechane, and Precious Ramabulane, we assure your spirit and recommit our organization to the continued women emancipation and fight against women and girl abuse. We dip our pen in memory of the many victims of farm murders, amongst them Matlomola Moshwe and Anele Hoyana. To their spirit too, we commit never to rest until we achieve expropriation of land without compensation. Cheers. We lower our flag in memory of men student activists who passed in the line of duty for free education in our lifetime. Amongst them, Mlungisi Matonsela and Benjamin Phehla. To your generation, we commit the EFF to the struggle for free education in our lifetime. Furthermore, in the period under review, the organization has been hit by a wave of unfortunate and sad occasions of death of its most trusted and committed fighters, amongst them public representatives of the organization. A detailed list of obituaries is attached here to and marked Annex G on page 179 to page 181, making a total of 49 very important fighters of the organization and leaders who left us in the course of the period under review. May their souls rest in perfect revolutionary peace. Comrades and fighters, commissars, and delegates, the organization has seen both qualitative and quantitative growth. The strategy of the organization can not only be measured by the milestone it has reached, but also through various political metrics forms. As already pointed out, the EFF is a relatively young political formation which has grown rapidly in comparison to other political parties prior to its formation and post its formation. As Frantz Fanon would correctly put it, each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. In response to this revolutionary task enunciated in the famous quotation of the revolutionary comrade Frantz Fanon, we can proudly state that we have laid what we consider to be a solid foundation to fulfill the generational mission, our battle cry, economic freedom in our lifetime. We have set in motion a revolutionary machinery which would otherwise, in its absence, have resulted in an unled revolution resulting in anarchy. The strides so far achieved by this revolutionary militant movement would certainly have not been possible without the support of those close to us, the membership, the staff, the volunteers, the sponsors, and supporters. What now lies ahead for the leadership to be elected here is the immediate task of continuing the struggle of our people and doing so selflessly and conscientiously, consolidating the ground towards a socialist power. To each and every branch delegate that is present here today at this second NPA, on behalf of the first democratically elected CCT, we wish to thank you and appreciate you for making the work of the organization achievable at branch level. We have been able to communicate with each and every branch member and branch leadership through social media, short message system, WhatsApp groups, and direct letters. We have always received feedback from time to time from you. Your wisdom and counsel has always been appreciated, even though at times we did not ordinarily agree with you, but you have nonetheless shaped this organization to what it is today. Thank you. To the delegates of the regional structures present here today, take back the message and resolutions of the second NPA. To the branch members, branch leadership, and your colleagues in the RCT, let them know that this first CCT has always appreciated your tremendous contribution to the work of the organization, and more especially making the discharge of the responsibility of this outgoing leadership easily attainable. We thank you. To the delegates of provincial structures led by their respective chairpersons and secretaries, please go back to the provincial membership and ground forces in your provincial general people's assemblies and transmit to them the message that this outgoing CCT has at all times treasured their cooperation in making the work of the organization seamless and efficiently executable. And to you too, we say thank you. To the collective outgoing CCT, led by the President and Commander-in-Chief, we had a demanding and challenging term. However, we have at all material times valued each other's wisdom and counseling as we engage with the political overview by the President and organizational report in the past 26 CCT meetings that we have held since the last NPA. We pay tribute to you, Commander-in-Chief, and the collective as we mark the end of our term. And we wish those who will be nominated and make it to the second NPA CCT a fruitful 5-year journey towards 2024 third NPA. The journey ahead is characterized by challenging events of 2021 LGE and 2024 NPE. You dare not lower the guard and drop the ball. To you two outgoing CCT members, we say thank you. To the officials led by the President and Commander-in-Chief, on behalf of the delegates and membership not present here, we wish to thank you all for making the work of the organization far easier, seamless and efficient in the discharge of the responsibilities entrusted to this outgoing CCT of the first NPA. To the incoming CCT officials, the bar has been set high, and please take note that there is no room for mediocre, for we shall have failed our people. A decisive victory in 2021 local government elections and 2024 national provincial elections is not an option but a revolutionary obligation. To you, top 6, we also say thank you. To the Commander-in-Chief and President of the EFF, the 5 years of the organization had its own trying times and pleasurable moments. But at all material times, you were a beacon of light in times of desperation. You counseled us and we rose up far more wiser. The critical and constructive but fruitful engagement at all material times inside and outside the CCT, the War Council, the officials' meetings, in social, political and family spaces, points to your consistent concern in the growth and development of this glorious revolutionary movement. We never took your counseling and wisdom for granted. We thank you and we wish you well for many years to come. No amount of words of gratitude will ease the pain and difficulties your family had to go through during your absence whilst in the service of the organization and the nation. We have shared and continue to share the pains of your tribulations in the face of hostile state persecutions. We request all CCT members present here today, as they go back home on the 16th of December, to extend our sincere gratitude to their families, next of kin and loved ones, for they never complained all the days and times in the organization, deployed, when the organization deployed you far away from them. Tell them asante sana and thank you very much. Commissars of the CCT, you discharge your responsibilities with exceptional excellence and distinction. Extend our sincere appreciation to your families and loved ones for making you available to us and their patience whilst you were away, spending a significant portion of your time with our people on the ground, building this organization. If it was not for these family members, partners and spouses, you would not have carried your mandate and executed it with excellence that you have done to this point in time. Please tell our family members we say thank you. To our public representatives, you were present during mass mobilization for successful rallies and elections work. Your contribution to the revolution through party levies and bakkies contributed tremendously and cannot go unnoticed. And to you too, we say thank you. To the staff members of the organization in the headquarters, provincial and regional offices, as well as Parliament, the provincial legislatures, councils and metros, volunteers from time to time, to you too, we extend our appreciation for all the complementary tasks you have and continue to employ in the organization on the discharge of organizational revolutionary tasks. Your long hours spent in building this organization away from home, often foregoing much, is sincerely cherished. Please let your families know that we value you and treasure their patience during your absence in their lives. And to you, staff members of the organization, we too say thank you to you. To our sponsors who assisted prior to the 2014 and even post the 2019 elections, we acknowledge that you were never ashamed of being associated with us. The people of South Africa shall forever be indebted to your generosity in the struggle for economic freedom in our lifetime. You, together with professionals across society who assisted us pro bono, stood with fighters unapologetically in the midst of intense attack of your person, family, and business. To the media, print and electronic, audio and visual, we kept a close eye on you, and thank you for covering us in all our major programs and this NPA. We had our battles in court at times, but we can assure you of your press freedom, except when it descends to the political arena, masquerading as journalists whilst acting as politicians in the form of Stratcom. We see you even though you are not here. To the people of South Africa, the African continent, and Africans in diaspora, we thank you, and your support will never go unnoticed. Today, in this second NPA, gathered here, we return this organization to its rightful owners, representatives of membership, intact as it was handed to us in the first NPA of 2014. We salute each and every person present here today and those with us in soul and spirit, scattered all over the world. And we enjoin you to continued cementing of this organization, regardless of race, gender, and creed. In us lies the hope of the people of South Africa, the African continent, and Africans in diaspora. May we continue serving our people with humility, patience, and selflessness. Forward to consolidating of ground towards socialist power. Forward! Forward to consolidating the ground towards socialist power. Forward! Amanda! Thank you very much.
Matla Karuna Matla Karuna. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. At least you woke us up with that song. Yeah, I forgot. Remember when Matunjwa said the haters of the EFF thought it was not going to last even for 6 months. And we must tell them we are here. 6 years later, we are. Thank you. So to them we will say they are going to bazolala ngenxeba. Bazophefumula. It means breathing through. Yes, all the haters can breathe through the wound. Thank you. Okay, please, let's listen now to the line of march. This is what's going to happen now. There are delegations that have asked for time to caucus. So we're going to break for 15 minutes or so to allow those who want to caucus. Then in that period, the media and our guests will be excused, because when we come back after that caucus break, we are going to take the TG's report, which is a closed session. Then this is what's going to happen. Instead of discussing those reports immediately, we are going to move, or rather we'll call back the people, because the next session will be open before we discuss the reports. Once we've called back the guests and the media, then we're going to take nominations for the top 6. And then what will happen is that if there is going to be contestation, as you know from the PPAs, then there must be time for printing of ballots and all that. While that is being done, we are then going to use that time, instead of sitting and idling, we'll use that time to discuss the 2 reports. And once we've finished discussing the 2 reports, then hopefully the people who do the ballots will have finished. Then we start going into commissions. And then people will vote according to, it will be explained. So Commission 1 goes to vote, Commission 2 goes to vote, and so on. That way we will save a lot of time, instead of having idling time, to try and save some of the time that we are behind by. Is it clear? Okay, so now the immediate thing that's going to happen is we're going to break. We come back into the closed session. Immediately after that, we take nominations for the top 6. and then we discuss the two reports. So if you have questions or any issues, please note them for the discussion that will happen after the nominations for the top 6. Mandla! The time now is 1934, let's say 35. So can we be back? All right, let's make it 25-minute break. So it's 25 to 8 now. Please, by 8 o'clock, we must be here and we start. Thank you.